Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, September 1st, 2017. The main impact for today going through the first part of next week is the extreme heat expected across much of the Great Basin with high hanes and low relative humidities. Near record temperatures are expected over the northern half of the area Saturday through Sunday, and with the high instability we could expect to see holdovers pop up from the lightning activity over the past few days, as well as expect to see ongoing fires pick up their activity and exhibit advanced fire behavior and possibly become plume dominated. Very isolated thunderstorms are possible over far southern and eastern portions of the Great Basin at times through the first part of next week. And the next story we're looking at is a return of moisture to the Great Basin from the south sometime next week, but low confidence currently exists for when that moisture will move in and how much moisture will be coming to the Great Basin. Another day of isolated thunderstorms over central and eastern portions of the Great Basin was observed yesterday. Some of the storms, particularly in eastern Nevada and up into northern Utah, were accompanied by some precipitation. New initial attack was on the moderate side yesterday. The past 7 and 30 days worth of precipitation are shown here. The past 7 days have been quite dry across the entire geographic area, with mainly just dry thunderstorms moving through the region for the past few days. And the past 30 days have been quite dry as well, particularly over the central Idaho mountains and portions of southern and eastern Idaho, as well as northern Utah. Western and southern Nevada saw the most precipitation over the past 30 days. These dry conditions have led to elevated fire danger indices, particularly across the northern half of the Great Basin. The central Idaho mountains are approaching record levels for the time of year, up near the 90th and 97th percentile there, where we are seeing values that we saw this time last year, but the difference will be this time last year we saw a rapid decrease in fire danger, and for now we're still expecting things to be quite dry, at least into the middle of next week, particularly over the northern half of the area. This morning's satellite imagery shows that broad area of high pressure in place over the western U.S. that's going to bring extreme heat to the entire western U.S., near record to record-breaking temperatures expected across many areas, as well as low relative humidities and high hanes. Another look at the weather pattern for this afternoon. Many of the areas across the Great Basin are still in the yellow category for our fuel dryness, but that will be changing as we move into this very hot and dry period. One thing to take note of is Tropical Storm Lydia. They're over Baja. This moisture will be moving northward through the weekend and impact the Great Basin sometime next week. Temperatures are already warming across the Great Basin, particularly over the western Great Basin, with highs bumping up against 100 even starting this afternoon. Temperatures are a little bit cooler in the east, but will be warming over the next few days. Wind gusts, however, will be on the light side through the next few days. The center of that high pressure moves over the Great Basin starting on Saturday, and this one will see temperatures really begin to increase. High-risk triggers have been issued for western Idaho and northern Nevada for these hot, dry, and unstable conditions. Maximum temperatures over 100 degrees in western Nevada and near 100 degrees in western Idaho by Saturday, with light winds region-wide. By Sunday, we'll begin to see some of that moisture move northward into California, but the bulk of the moisture will stay out of the Great Basin until later in the work week. High-risk triggers have been issued on Sunday for a more widespread area over the northern half of the geographic area with those hot, dry, and unstable conditions. Temperatures will be in the upper 90s by Sunday afternoon in Salt Lake and extremely hot everywhere in the Great Basin. By Sunday, limited moisture will start to creep into far western and southern Nevada and maybe over some of the higher elevations of southern Utah as well. 3-day precipitation accumulations are pretty much non-existent for the Great Basin. There is a little bit of lingering moisture. Today, we could expect to see some very isolated thunderstorms pop up over the mountains of central Utah, and then the moisture returning by late Sunday to far southern parts of the Great Basin. On Monday, that moisture continues to kind of rotate around the Great Basin for generally dry conditions everywhere in the Great Basin. High-risk triggers continue to be issued for that hot and dry weather pattern. More of the same is expected on Tuesday. We may begin to see very slight uptick in moisture spreading into far western Nevada. We could begin to see possibly some isolated thunderstorms pop up over the Sierra front there. A better chance for an increase in thunderstorms comes on Wednesday as we see a little bit more moisture sloshing into the Great Basin. Very dry conditions are in place by the middle of next week, and so any lightning activity could be problematic for new fire starts. We'll begin to see an area of low pressure developing off the Pacific Northwest coast. This could enhance some of that moisture moving up into the Great Basin. By Thursday, it does look like there's a better chance for some of that moisture to be drawn into the Great Basin, and we'll expect to see an increase in showers and thunderstorm activity. Right now, the models are looking like Thursday is the day that moisture will come into the Great Basin. 7-day precip totals are not that impressive. Highlighting the main areas for some precip will be over the southern tip of Nevada and then into far western portions of Nevada as well. Again, we'll be watching this forecast closely to see just when and how much moisture does actually make it into the Great Basin. The extended forecast for the 8 to 14 day outlook going to the second week of September continues to show above normal temperatures in place over the Great Basin, and that bullseye of above normal precipitation across the southern half of the area where some relief in fire danger could be expected. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.